Hello and welcome to this week's Sunday show. This is a show that I do regularly with highly evolved spirits, such as Jesus and Mother Mary and St John the Baptist I can't even think of all the ones that have come through, as many of the saints, and I feel sort of quite delighted to be able to share some of my journey with you and how this has been such an extraordinary experience for me that I feel it's only sort of right that I share this with you. For many years I was a medium working in spiritualist churches and bringing through sort of mums and dads and aunties and uncles and grandparents and friends and sons and daughters and all that sort of thing, people that we've known, and one of the skills that we always were taught was that proving the survival of the spirit and sort of bringing through evidence. But that was all very well and good, and that was something that just went on for 12 years, in fact, and so that was sort of really interesting. But I always knew that I had a role to play, and this role was going to be something very different from perhaps sort of the average medium. And that's not to say that I was looking for it or have a need to be something different. It just is what it is, and that is what my role was. My soul knew it. My soul sort of rose up and would tell me that all the time, that I had something different to do in this world. And with the work that I've been doing, this sort of came about 3 years ago, and in that time, what was quite sort of interesting is that they just sort of started coming through one by one, and talking to me. And can you imagine sort of the first time that I got sort of Jesus or God, I nearly fell off my chair, and was doubting myself. Could this be real? And sort of, I certainly was doubting myself. That's for sure. I sort of was struggling with the idea that am I really doing this? But as time went on, it was very clear to me that I could do this, and I would see them in my clairvoyance. I'd see them in the room and where they were standing, and I would also, hear their voices in my clairaudience, and their messages. If you want to, their messages were always those sort of messages that came forward with love and gentleness. The gentleness is probably the sort of the biggest thing that I see with them. Their loving gentleness is adorable, and they're so supportive and so sort of helpful in so many ways that I just enjoy my relationship that I have with them now, because it is a relationship. If you think that can you imagine, communicating with these highly evolved spirits every day of your life, of which I've sort of, documented on my computer. I have 3 years of daily sort of communication. And can you imagine sort of, if you had that, where you spoke to somebody every day of your life for 3 years, your love for them would grow, and you would just sort of, it would be a very special relationship that you end up carving out with these people in your life. But I know that, they haven't just come through to me just because, well, let's speak to Gail. It's not that way. I know very, very clearly from them that they consider that I have a job to do, and the job is about setting up a church and also setting up a charity. And this is something that I think is incredibly exciting, because for 2 reasons, and let me tell you the reasons. So one, the first reason is, can you imagine setting up a whole brand new church, but the church is slightly different because it is being guided by God. and Jesus and Mother Mary and all the saints. And Saint Therese is going to be heading up the church, and Mother Mary and God sort of, are sort of, above that. And so the church will be one that is really guided in truth. And I remember many years ago feeling very strongly that I wanted to attach myself to a church. I wasn't brought up with religion, so these people weren't my point of reference at all. In this life, I might add. I think in other lives they were, and but it was just so extraordinary that they came forward, and now I know that Saint Therese will be heading up the church, and she is very knowledgeable on church matters, and I think that's quite exciting, because to have somebody as special as her to sort of help me and assist me is going to be sort of wonderful. Thomas Aquinas comes through a lot. He's sort of been involved in helping me understand the Bible, because, as I said before, I wasn't brought up with religion. I'm not a Catholic, or in fact, I lie slightly. It's not a lie, I forgot. I was actually christened as a Catholic, but from then on, I didn't have really religion in my life, and so it was. I remember going to school, and there may be assemblies, and they may bring in sort of the idea of God or something like that, but it wasn't sort of like an active sort of church-going experience and reading the Bible. I did not have that in my life. And then Thomas Aquinas and Saint Therese, and I have seen when they've been standing there, I've quite often seen Moses standing there, and I think he's waiting for me to get to the Old Testament, because I think I've got a feeling, and he hasn't said that, but I've got a feeling that he's going to be coming through quite a lot during that time. One of the things that's extraordinary is St. John is also helping me with the Bible, but what he is doing, which is slightly different, is as I'm reading his gospel, he's going through each chapter with me, and he's bringing in words that he wants to sort of add and sort of for me to consider. So it's deepening my understanding of the truths of their world and the meaning of life. So I'm really excited about going through the Gospel of St. John, and I'm hoping that some of his other works, the Book of Revelation is going to be the next one, I think, that St. John was involved with, and that was quite extraordinary, and I think and had very sort of it's quite a difficult book to sort of really sort of grasp, because it's got so many sort of analogies or ideas that you have to sort of really sort of look back in other parts of the Bible to really fully understand. But I'm hoping that St. John will also work with me through that Bible, that part of the book. And so that's sort of the church, and I'm really excited about that. Setting up the church. Can you imagine sort of, it's going to be a church that has, and he wants to call it the Church of All Life, and he being God, he wants to call it the Church of All Life. And I can't think of a better word, because it's everything that's living. Everything that is living is included in this. Everything that he has created that is living, that has a soul, is included. How wonderful is that? So the next part is the charity, and that also is something that I am extremely excited about. The reason why I'm excited about this is because it just simply has to be done. We have to help mankind. We have to help people in so many ways. So part of my role will be sort of raising money and trying to look at the causes that we can sort of follow. What I've been told is that we will be looking after as many people that need help, whether it be in this country or another country or anywhere in the world. You know, any soul is worthy of help, and that is going to be sort of probably, you know, one of the nicest things to do, and very rewarding to see people be healed, because, you know, the church and the charity should be about healing on so many levels, and helping people to grow within themselves. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And now, this is interesting. So I have been allocated a person that will be heading up the charity, and this person is none other than Mother Teresa. How amazing is that? That she is going to be coming forward and sort of assisting me with the role of running the charity. And I have seen sort of other people that are less known that are going to be helping with the finances of it, and just generally sort of setting up. I think it's going to be quite an exciting time moving forward, and I can't wait to see sort of where we are in the next sort of 5 years or the next 10 years, because I know that this is something that is ultimately God-led. This is something that is ultimately a decision and ordained by God. And so when something is ordained and a decision by God, it will succeed. It will, because he wants it. And so he will remove the obstacles, hopefully, he will remove the obstacles, please God. And he will give us the path, clear the path for us, so that we can do this good work and do this work for mankind, not only to evolve their souls to understand the truths of life, but also to give charitably. And this is where we all should be in our existence. We should all have evolved to this point where we give, and we want to nurture another one. We want to love other people and be kind at all times. And so this is exciting times, and I know that I hope that you can all follow me on this journey and be included in this journey and enjoy the journey, and be a part of this journey. That would be just be wonderful. Thank you for always being there, and hope to see you soon. Goodbye.